Hello everyone, it is I, the Fable of Fables, your new best friend. I'm reacting to a Prime this time, recommended by Carter Blake X3B. Thank you so much for the recommendation, bud. I love talking to you about Transformers because it's a lot of fun. If you too would like to recommend me something to watch, feel free to do so. I'm thinking of posting a link to my Discord in case anyone wants to join. Let me know if that's something you're interested in joining so we can talk about Transformers in the Discord. Must be 18 years old or 18 years old to join. Anyway, let's look at this
Back
boy.
to the very beginning of Cybertronian history to tell the story of the first Transformer. These are the basics on the leader of the legendary Primes, Prima.
Prima. Prima Prime.
In the mythology of Cybertron, Prima was the first Transformer created at the dawn of time by Primus, the god of light, wielder of the mighty sword, the Star Saber, and the first bearer of the sacred relic, the Matrix of Leadership. Prima was leader of a group of 13 divine warriors known as the Primes, forged by Primus to aid him in his battle against his evil brother, the dark god Unicron. But this mythology didn't start out fully formed. Originally, Prima was an obscure character created in 1989 by writer Simon Furman for Marvel's Transformers comic book. Appearing only in a brief flashback sequence in issue number 61, he was one of the first generation of Transformers created out of the substance of Cybertron by Primus in the ancient past, and the first robot to carry the Matrix, which would pass from him down through the ages to each successive Autobot leader. For a decade, that was everything we knew about Prima. The creation of the first Transformers was shown again in the comics' 1993 sequel series, Generation 2, but none of the robots seen in that story were identified as Prima at the time. Eventually, though, Furman revisited the character in the 1999 prose story, Covenant, released through official convention, BotCon. This story presented an alternate take on the history of the Matrix, which surprisingly depicted Prima as the relic's second bearer, the first being a robot named Primon. This idea didn't last, though. Furman would soon write another new story for the 2004 guidebook, Transformers: The Ultimate Guide, which once again identified Prima as not just the first Matrix bearer, but explicitly the first Transformer ever created. The first of a group of 13 given life by Primus to battle Unicron in ancient times. Building on the ideas the Ultimate Guide introduced, creators at Hasbro spent the next few years internally developing the story of these 13 Primes, with the aim of establishing a mythology about the beginnings of life on Cybertron that would underpin all of Transformers' lore going forward. Up to this point, Prima had basically been nothing more than a footnote in Transformers history, but with this sudden increase in his grand, cosmic significance, the character soon wound up being retconned into existing in other Transformers series he hadn't previously appeared in. For instance, the 2010 guidebook, the Allspark Almanac, inserted the character into the world of the original Transformers cartoon, declaring that an unnamed robot seen in the 1986 episode 5 Faces of Darkness Part 4 was that series' incarnation of Prima. As in Covenant, this powerful robot was the second bearer of the Matrix after Primon, and had lived on Cybertron in the age when the planet was ruled by the evil aliens, the Quintessons.
Not the Quintessons.
Prima was forced to fight in gladiatorial games for the Quintessons' amusement.
That's
but
horrible.
Repulsed by the pointless combat, he had lashed out at the aliens in an attempt to put a stop to it. For this crime, he was destroyed. But his actions inspired the rest of the Cybertronian race to rise up and overthrow their oppressors. Similarly, while a version of the Primes had appeared in the 2009 live-action movie, Revenge of the Fallen, none of the individual members of the group had been identified by name. Hasbro Creatives clarified at BotCon 2010 that Prima was indeed part of the movie universe, identifying him as the Prime showcased in tie-in comics, who was responsible for defeating and banishing the Fallen, an evil Prime who had turned against his brothers. Eventually, Hasbro's story of the 13 was told in full as part of the Aligned continuity, a multimedia project that ran throughout the 2010s, which cemented the legend of Prima and his siblings as we know it today. As detailed in various sources, principally the 2013 guidebook The Covenant of Primus, Prima was the first of a pantheon of 13 primes created by Primus to battle Unicron in the primordial past. As his first creation, Prima was much like Primus, a warrior of light and order whose foremost concern was always the greater good. He was leader of the primes, smart, unselfish, sometimes frustrating due to his belief that he was always right, but self-aware enough not to be pompous. His personal weapon was the Star Saber, a sword so powerful it could split continents and extinguish suns.
Holy crap!
On its hilt, a jewel that allowed Prima to access the wisdom and power of Primus himself. Prima frequently clashed with the 12th Prime, Megatronus, whose dark, impulsive nature made him the natural opposite to the ordered, rational Prima. Angry and resentful over the way Prima and the other primes treated him, Megatronus's rage one day bubbled over, and he accidentally killed their sister, Solus Prime. This tragedy shattered the Prime's brotherhood.
That monster!
Violent, destructive infighting amongst themselves. Those who survived, shamed by their actions, concluded that their time was over, and chose to open the way for a new race of beings to take their place. Together, they ignited the wellspring of life known as the Well of All Sparks, which gave birth to the Transformer race, and disappeared into history and legend. Prima was last seen in prehistoric times, defending the weaker members of the fledgling Transformer race against the powerful animalistic Predacons, but his ultimate fate was unknown. His Star Saber was hidden away.
I like him. I like him. He's literally the very definition of a leader who wants to do what's best for everyone.
But Tryon, while the jewel from the sword's hilt was removed and became the Matrix, which was enshrined in Cybertronian legend as a symbol of leadership. Since the Aligned continuity told their tale in full, Prima and the 13 have become key figures in Transformers lore, and their legend has been featured in virtually every subsequent series, each one reinterpreting the characters and their basic story in different ways. For instance, in the world of IDW Publishing's comic books, Prima and the Primes were tribal leaders on prehistoric Cybertron. This version of their story gave Prima a different ending. After Solus's murder, he pursued Megatronus across the galaxy and engaged him in a final showdown on the planet Sishi, where Megatronus killed him with his own star saber.
Oh no!
The 2018 toy line, Power of the Primes, presented a world in which the sparks of the Primes were reborn in small robots known as Prime Masters, which could grant the Primes powers to other Transformers, a gimmick represented by the figures transforming into Spark Mode and plugging into the larger toys in the series.
I don't really know if I like this toy series, to be honest.
Prima Prime was available only as part of the Throne of the Primes set exclusive to that year's San Diego Comic-Con, but a translucent recolor of the toy was available later in the line, packaged with the Autobot spy, Punch. Breaking from the original idea behind the character, this series downplayed Prima's connection to the Matrix, and instead associated the artifact with the group's enigmatic final member, the 13th Prime. The Throne of the Prime set also included a 13th Prime Master, which transformed into the core of the Matrix itself. Though the figure did still pay homage to Prima's role in the relic's real-world history, as its design was based on his appearance in the Marvel comic. This association of the Matrix with the 13th instead of Prima would continue into future stories, most notably the 2024 movie Transformers 1, which presented the Matrix as a separate artifact from Prima's Star Saber, carried by the 13th Prime. In this version of their story, Prima and the Primes were the rulers of Cybertron, who defended the planet against the invading forces of the Quintessons until they were betrayed and killed by their aide, Sentinel, so he could usurp their rule. Prima's transformation cog was one of 4 later salvaged by the sole surviving Prime, Alpha Trion, and given to a new generation of heroes to grant them the power to free their planet from Sentinel's rule.
God, Transformers 1 is so good.
A true toy of Prima was finally released in 2025's Prime-centric toy line, Age of the Primes. Once again sold as Prima Prime, the figure transformed into a Cybertronian truck, the first time Prima has actually been depicted with an alternate mode. His robot mode design drew inspiration from both the character's aligned look and the powerful robot from the original cartoon, and came with both the Star Saber and the Matrix. It's a toy that embodies the many different ways his legend has been told over the years. The first son of Primus, Prime among primes, the light at the dawn of Cybertron. And those are the basics.
I love him. I love him because he's literally the embodiment of a shining light and the goodness in the Transformers universe as well. Yeah. So anyway, guys, I got, everything, all the good stuff. If you like this kind of content, please do like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know, if there's any characters you want me to react to. I gotta react to some other stuff too, though. I'm crying. I'm kidding. Check out Chris McFreely. You want to support me? There's a link in my Ko-Fi. Let me know if you guys would like to join my Discord. That way we can talk about stuff or watch me live stream. Links are in the description. Love you. Bye.